glimpse today of the violence and self-harm that goes on inside the prisons of England and Wales. Both have reached record levels, according to the Ministry of Justice. There is an incident every 20 minutes. 325 prisoners died in custody in the last 12 months, an overall increase of 8%, and within that, a 12% rise in suicides. There were more than 30,000 assaults, a rise of 20%, and almost 10,000 of those were assaults on staff, a 27% increase, equivalent to more than 25 a day.
In the laundry at Liverpool prison, inmates rendered paralytic by the so-called zombie drug Spice. Another prisoner films on his phone a few seconds of the kind of chaos which reigns across the prison system. Chaos which can have violent results. Mick Pimlett spent 30 years as a prison officer. He retired last month, a few weeks after he was assaulted by an inmate in his cell.
I would say the biggest problem in prisons at this moment in time is the lack of staff. I believe that the consequences of that is that we don't have security checks like we had in the past. They're not as rigorous as they were in the past. Therefore, there's an increase in drugs, an increase in self-harm, and an increase in violence.
The authorities won't comment on the circumstances, but 3 inmates at Liverpool prison have died in the last month, all of them under 50 years of age. The Prison Reform Trust now speaks of a catastrophe engulfing many of our prisons. The Ministry of Justice says it's determined to bring down levels of violence, but with assaults on staff up by nearly a third on last year, the crisis may be outrunning them. The government says it is recruiting more prison officers, but in the last few years, many more have left the service than have joined. Now, a jail can be a frightening and intimidating place to work. So when potentially violent problems arise, you need staff members with the confidence and the know-how that only experience can bring.
So you've got this fella that's been on the wing now for 3 or 4 months. You've got a new officer coming in who's shadowing this officer that's been working for 4 months, and he just hasn't got a clue.
Darren Gee spent 12 years in prisons across England. He paints a frightening picture of the modern jail.
You ask anyone that's in the prison system right now, and they will tell you 10 years ago, if you went to get your food in the prison system, you'd have a prison officer there, name you're on whatever, they'd give you a meal order. Now it's prisoners. It's prisoners, so it's prisoners controlling everything. The only thing staff are doing is coming in, opening doors and locking doors, and that's fact.
There's little time to spend on turning lives around. When resources are focused on keeping prisoners alive and staff safe, rehabilitation now seems like a distant ideal. Geraint Vincent, News at 10, Liverpool.